Hi everybody, it's Paige Leslie again, and in this video I'm going to show you how to complete a semantic feature analysis, which sounds a lot harder than it actually is. So the reason that I do semantic feature analyses is to build vocabulary. Now, if I see a student for language, typically I'll have two types of goals, and those are going to be vocabulary and sentence structure. If I have goals that address other more specific things like WH questions or following directions or something like that, still vocabulary is going to be at the foundation of all of it. So I thought that that would be the most important thing to share first. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys. Yep, here we go. Now I've got it. Okay, so this is going to be a two-part video because there's just a lot to go through. And so part number one, we're going to go over this first slide, and that's for nouns. And then slides number 2 and 3 are for verbs and adjectives. And that's just because they're very, very similar. Let's see, let's move this. Okay, so this will be available to you if you email me. So my email, my work email, is on my website. So if you email me, this can be available to you if your child is working on vocabulary. So what we do with this, so up here, we would, am I not? Okay. Up here we would put our word. So this can be any noun. Of course, the way that I would approach this in therapy is if a child has never seen a semantic feature analysis before, I would use a word that was very concrete, that I know that they know a lot of information about, because this is basically, this worksheet is just organizing all the information that we know. And so the reason we want to organize all the information that we know is when you are a typical language learner, your brain will automatically take words that you hear and in context, and little by little, each time you hear it, glean more information and categorize it automatically. We don't have to think about it. We typically don't, which is why we know so many words and don't really remember anybody teaching us each and every word that we know. But when a child has a language disorder, this is typically difficult for them. So it's not impossible. You know, kids with language disorders do have a vocabulary. It's just that they may need more more experience with each word to really have it be part of their vocabulary, to where they can use it correctly and manipulate it and understand it when they hear it. And they might need more direct teaching. So this is what this worksheet is. A semantic feature analysis is taking what naturally occurs in our brain and directly teaching it. So not only can we use it to teach words that kids don't know, but they can use it themselves as a strategy to be independent in learning new words, because we don't want to teach them every single word that they don't know. That's not the whole part of, that's not the idea of this process. The idea of this process is to give them the tools so that they can eventually read a passage, use context clues, look up a definition, think of times they've heard a word before, and really be able to do this themselves. Okay, so I picked the word cat because it is absolutely easy. Kids know about cats, right? So I would use these concrete words for my younger students, like first grade, when we're really just getting acquainted with the semantic feature analysis, or for some older students who have just never seen it before. And we would quickly move to more abstract things and using it in a more functional way. So I'm just using cat just to show you how we would use this worksheet. So the first one is category. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. So you're thinking, which group does this belong to? Now, for some of my students, some of my younger ones, kindergarten, early first, well, nobody's early first grade right now, but kindergarten and first grade-ish, they may need a little bit of help with these two. They might need you to do activities that are specific for those, and I'll have some resources for those a little bit later. But so let's get on the semantic feature analysis. I'm distracted. Okay, so category, what does a cat belong to? You could say animal. You can be more specific and say pet. So the function, what does this do? What do we do with it? When I have animals, especially animals that we know the sounds for, like meow or cow goes moo, dog barks, I like to put the sounds. What else does a cat do? A cat might purr. We can pet a cat. Oops. Let's see, what else does a cat do? They scratch up all my furniture. Well, not mine, I don't have a cat. And that's all I can think of right now off the top of my head. And then we take it to physical attributes. What does it look like, smell like, taste like, feel like? Obviously, some of these aren't going to be relevant for every noun, like taste. I've never tasted a cat. That would be inappropriate. Smell, cat probably shouldn't have a smell, quite honestly. We're not going to use those. But oops, all right. But as for the look and feel, sure. So a cat is a small animal. It can be many colors. Usually those neutral colors, brown, black, white, gray, sometimes orange. Let's see. They're soft and cuddly and they're furry. They have pointy ears. Anything you can think of, really. Kids usually need a lot of cueing and a lot of help naming different parts. That's part of the language disorder. It's hard to describe things with lots of descriptors. And that could be a function of low vocabulary. Parts and composition. So when we have this, this kind of concrete word, this is where I like to have fun and take it off of the worksheet and draw a picture. So how I would approach this is I would literally have a blank piece of paper and ask the student, what do you want me to draw first? Usually they need a little bit of help. So I'll say, should I draw the head or the body first? And they get to choose. And so as I'm drawing, they can see the parts that are missing. And that gives me more of a chance to look at their vocabulary. So let's see. So for example, students will usually say, okay, next draw the feet. And that gives me a chance to be like, okay, so cats have feet, but when we talk about cats' feet, they're not really called feet because they don't have feet like us. That would be really weird. So do you know what a cat's foot is called? It starts with a P. If they don't get it, then we can start talking about it's their paw. So what else has paws? Dogs have paws, and so on and so forth. And we might get a little bit more detailed in the picture, like they might say that the cat has nails. And then again, they don't have nails like we have nails. When it's a cat, they're called claws. And we might describe the claws. Claws are really sharp. They hurt. And then also another example might be, they might say that the cat has hair, which isn't really what we call cat's hair. It's not like human hair, it's called fur. So that this parts and composition can give you even more chances to build on that vocabulary. And then associations, what goes with it? What do I need with this? So it's, for me, it's kind of like, what do cats like to play with? What are some of the things you need to buy if you're gonna have a cat? So for me, litter box, scratching post, catnip, cat toys. Cats like to eat mice, things like that. So different associations that you can think of that go with that thing. And then last of all, location. Where can I find this? So usually I'll get like the store or the pound, shelter. And then I think, okay, well, if you had a cat, where would it live in your home? And that's really what a pet is. So usually I finish this activity off. If it didn't take a whole long time, I finish it off with definition syntax. So this kind of rounds out the whole activity. I usually describe it to my students as, imagine your closet is really, really messy and you need to clean it out, and it's gonna take a long time. So what we did here is we took out everything in our closet and put it into little piles. So, the metaphor is that we took everything that we know about cats and put it into piles, put it into these categories of different types of information. And then you have to figure out what you need to put back in that closet, because you're not going to need everything. So the new fresh closet is going to be our definition. And the formula for a definition is this. A blank is a blank that blanks. So in this first spot, we're going to put the word that we're working on, which is cat. A cat is a, and then we need our category. Every time we're going to need our category. That's why category is so important. So we can say an animal, and make sure to highlight the fact that you just put an, or a cat is a pet that, and then we need one or two, possibly even three, of the things that we've said down here that distinguishes a cat as being different from any other pet. So let's see. You would have to pick a couple of things that no other pet does. So, that meows. It doesn't have to be something that no other pet does. So I'll show you an example. A cat is a pet that is furry and meows. Perfect. I can't think of any other pet that would do that would meow. But that is a completely fine description of a cat. Great definition. Usually kiddos with language disorders, they have a really hard time coming up with this definition. And being able to just describe and define what something is a very, very important skill for school. So we want them to be able to do that, right? But usually kids with language disorders will typically give me one of three responses. They will look at me like a deer in the headlights if I ask them, okay, tell me what a cat is. They'll just, oh my gosh. I'll get, well, a cat it's a cat. It looks like a cat, like it's a cat. Not particularly helpful. Or it'll be a cat poops. Also not particularly helpful. So yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions. And I look for, Hold on. There we go. I know how to use this program. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Stay safe, stay sane. I'll see you later.